The acclaimed Trails series, classic JRPGs of the past, and even the 1984 Ghostbusters movie come together as the inspirations for Tribulation, a turn-based RPG featuring the 4 chosen women of the Santabel Arbiter branch as they fight against corruption, crime lords, and even the paranormal itself. Demo is out on Steam and itch. Play it now.
Okay, here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to RPG Maker Cola.
Hey RPG Maker Cola listeners, welcome to RPG Maker Cola Season 2. This is RPG Maker Cola, your fizzy soda-filled source of content for game development opinions that mean very little in the grand scheme of things. It's your favorite RPG Maker podcast, RPG Maker Cola. I'm your host Benny, also known as Cash, also known as The Puzzle Snob, also known as Almari, and this is the place for you. It's a chill space where we get together skilled developers from the RPG Maker community to chat cordially and occasionally non-cordially about game development, game design, and probably a whole bunch of unrelated other stuff too. It's casual, it's cool, it's cola. Today I have a team of 3 guests who all have one thing in common: they're working on the same game, Almari. Almari is a black comedy, surreal horror JRPG inspired by Yumaniki, Off, Mother or Earthbound, Undertale, The Legend of Zelda, and the Shin Megami Tensei series, and has been in development since 2013. The game follows Almari, a hollow object head who lacks any emotions, and wakes up after a crash landing in an unknown location. He's told he must travel through 9 worlds that have been created by various human emotions. These worlds are known as the Emotion Worlds. Almari must defeat the emotional holders of the worlds to gain these emotions for himself. Crawl dungeons, solve puzzles, and engage in exciting turn-based combat. The way it works is Almari is equipped with a writing utensil and various kinds of stationery to create words that will be used as his attacks. But you don't learn them by leveling up, you need to find them in the Emotion Worlds. Mother Direct also had the privilege of debuting Almari's trailer on its latest installment in June of this year, that is 2021. For those listening in the future, your sci-fi stuff. The demo is out now, so you can download that right now, and I'll be streaming Almari this Friday night. So let me introduce 3 of the main staff that helped create this game. Don't be mistaken, each of these developers not only poured their heart and soul into this game, Almari, they also work on projects of their own that they work on alongside this project. Our first guest is the director, lead graphics, writing, and voice actor for Almari, and I think the genesis of the project itself. According to Twitter, they are a self-professed 24-year-old dude that likes making surreal games as a hobby. Almari was initially this person's brainchild in 2013, from which they recruited others to work on the project to grow into the team that it is today. The unique vision, storytelling, and world building that Almari runs upon would not exist if not for this person's dreams early on. It's my pleasure and honor to introduce this talented developer. Please welcome the one and only DemonClaus. Hi.
Hi. Thank you for having me on the podcast. So I've been, just as you said, I've been working on this game since 2013, and I've been a bit of an RPG Maker enthusiast since I was a kid.
It's awesome to have you on board.
Yeah, awesome to be here.
Yeah, and our next guest, same thing. Our second guest is the composer for Almari, along with contributing to concept, graphics, and testing. They also have a prolific collection of music and art that they've created, albums, EPs, and soundtracks for games like Beetle Ninja, film scores, and much more. Their music is available on SoundCloud, Bandcamp, and Spotify, typically fusing together many disparate genres such as noise rock, hip-hop, ambient, dream pop, chiptune, disco, experimental rock, funk, the list goes on. In this way, their music is often unclassifiable, diverse, and fit to purpose, featuring distortion, noise, and some of them really funky, just really amazing music. They accept commissions also, which we'll link in the description and also plug at the end of this episode. Their eclectic music style and diverse and broad experience in different genres make them a perfect fit for the experimental and surreal vibes that a project like Almari brings. I am super happy that they decided to be on board with this. It's the one and only host ELVIS. Hi.
Hello, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you on board. And our third and final guest is working on graphics for Almari and also on another project I'll mention soon. They're a developer I've known for a while now and have been on previous seasons of this show. I consider them to have an infectious and chaotically good-aligned personality. Correct me later if I'm wrong. According to their RPGmaker.net biography, they're just a dog making games. I first discovered them through their open exploration-based puzzle game with a cool dog, Hapup. Long-time listeners may remember that I accidentally kept pronouncing it Hapoop, and then this developer, along with Froge and others, made graphics depicting the Hapoop version of this character, and it became sort of a mini-meme at my expense. This sort of humorous, off-the-wall energy is funky and infectious, and it permeates every aspect of this developer's gameography, including the subversive Super Mario Death Row, the concept of tone of which is explained in the title. Currently, they're working on a game which also had a trailer alongside this latest Mother Direct, and the one before that, with a swashbuckling, spacefaring game called Astral Guard. Astral Guard is an upcoming interplanetary RPG about forming friends among the stars. It's colourful, upbeat, sarcastic and lovely, with an emphasis on memorable characters. You follow a group of aliens to stop a vicious hive mind from taking over the solar system, find friends, fight foes, and travel the stars. I am pleased to introduce our third and final guest for this episode. It's the incredible, the inevitable, Punkitt. Hi, Punkitt.
Hello, you're too kind. Gosh, Cash. Happy to be here. What a delight.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I'm kind, sometimes I'm evil. No. Thanks to all of you for being on board. And just a note to the listener and to our guests as well. Well, this is the second time we've recorded this episode, actually. We had an earlier recording, and some things happened, and there were some technical errors, so...
Hey, what's an RPG Maker game without some delays, am I right?
Yeah!
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, but it's fine, because actually a lot has happened since the last recording that we had, and
really.
I think it's actually quite nice that we have an updated version with news from the game, that both of these games that have been created by this whole team and Punkitt as well have gained a little bit of notoriety from being on the Mother Direct trailers and stuff. So yeah, I think it's actually quite nice that we got to record this again.
Yeah.
Happy accident.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so now that the user? This is not a testing experience. Your listener. Now that the listener, you're well acquainted with this team, it's Buzz Corner time. Welcome to the Buzz Corner. We're going to talk about what RPG Maker games and other games from other engines, because we aren't exclusive like that. This isn't a clique or a cult. What games are gaining buzz at the moment? If you can think of a game, I've asked each of these users, each of these guests, to bring one game to talk about that they're pretty interested in. They don't have to have played it. It just has to have a game page or something that looks interesting to them. I'll start by bringing a game that I've recently played on stream from one of my, honestly, developers that I'm biased towards because they've become one of my closest friends online. This is a game called The Lonely League by Calunio. They always dreamt of creating a tactical RPG like Shining Force or Final Fantasy Tactics, but never believed they were capable of it. And about 10 years ago, they had a dream about a game whose characters were Superman, Batman, Venom, and John Lennon. The Lonely League is their shot at making both of these dreams come true. Your protagonist is Vince Hart, a pure-hearted guy who is just trying to be a nice person in a world where kindness and empathy are becoming rare commodities. Vince is constantly bothered by how selfish everyone is. One day, a mysterious encounter changes him deeply, making him develop powers beyond his wildest imagination. That's beyond the demo that I played, but still. And as you may well know, with great power comes great responsibility. But saving the world that does not want to be saved will prove to be a lonely quest. This game is really interesting. I like the way that it combines graphics from fighting games and such in a tactics format but like integrates it into like a comic book looking thing, and it's a tactics game as well. So the main thing is you choose where to walk around and what characters and objects to interact with. That's the main thing that creates the strategy of the game as well. You're looking for interesting ways to interact with the world and get information. And based on like stats that you have, like charisma and stuff, you'll get new ways to interact with the world. So when I first played this demo, I played the first battle and I thought, okay, I hope that there's going to be like some depth to the gameplay, because this is like, Calunio is one of my favorite indie developers in the scene right now. RPG Maker not even considered. I think they create some of the most immersive stories that I've seen in gaming even. That's a big claim, but I think it's true.
Hell yeah.
This game is, in my opinion, their first sort of full foray into the gameplay like scene. I think it's actually going well. They create some really interesting gameplay, and what I like about it is there's this kind of system where if you fail a tactics battle, you still gain experience. It's like consolation experience. So it encourages you to fail and learn from the experience and make it seem like it wasn't a lost experience kind of thing. It's an interesting kind of system. Because at the same time, when you interact with previous things, you're like, nope, that didn't work. You're like, oh well, at least I get experience and I'm going to upgrade my character and try again kind of thing. So failure is in the design, and that way it almost feels a little bit roguelike-y. But I don't think this was all intended by Calunio, but I mean, some of it was definitely. But it kind of came about through the design, and I've had extensive talks with him about it, and I think it just came about naturally, which is one of the things I like best about game design, is when you think of an idea, and then from that initial concept come like, you know, more ideas that you hadn't dreamed of initially, and you're like, oh wow, that works too, sort of thing. Let me work with that. And I really enjoyed that part of Lonely League. So yeah, great graphics, great gameplay, story, and I thoroughly recommend the Lonely League. Go check it out and follow that project. It's still in development, and Calunio is sort of releasing in an almost episodic format, so you'll get lots of demos of like every time they have like an hour of gameplay, they'll put a new one in, sort of thing. So yeah, go check that out.
It's definitely got that 90s vibe.
Is that Gallo Themos from Promare?
Okay, yeah, I wasn't the only one that saw that.
Sorry, I mean to interrupt. But...
No, yeah, I mean, there's they liberally take from various games, so they're not really concerned about copyright per se.
Gotcha.
That's pretty sick, actually.
Yeah, so it's not a game that's going to ever be sold, because they're liberally, and they know this, they're using, copyrighted graphics and so on. That's what I also love, that aspect of it. They seem to be making this game for themselves.
Hell yeah.
Okay, yeah. I really respect that kind of just making something that you want to exist because you want it to. And yeah, something that always like kind of caught my attention was the use of the graphics and the presentation and whatnot.
Yeah, like I said, this is a really like a 90s. Yeah, it looks like a Marvel versus Capcom type of like graphics. But then, yeah, I could definitely see the Shining Force, the tactical RPG aspect too. I don't know. This game actually it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's some other games that you might know them from. They created Therapist Mind Manager, Beautiful Escape Dungeoneer, and a bunch of other quite interesting, Polymorphous Perversity, Susie and Freedom.
I think I've heard of the Therapist one. I haven't played it myself. I have heard of that one. I think it's because it was buzzing on RMN like a year ago.
Yeah, it was up against Beetle Ninja in the awards.
Yeah,
that's how I also know about them too, I believe.
Oh yeah.
To be honest, that's quite an unfortunate pairing, like because they're both such good games, and it's almost unfortunate that they were released in the same year, because I thought those were two of the most innovative gameplay structures of that year, like Therapist and Beetle Ninja. I played both. I played Therapist more than Beetle Ninja. I still yet to play the entirety of Beetle Ninja, but from what I played of Beetle Ninja, I was impressed by like the innovations it made in non-linear gameplay, and Therapist is quite similar. Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah, so it's almost like that kind of thing where you get the Oscars in the same year, you get 2 big hitters, and you're like, oh no, you have to don't fight my babies. Yeah, anyway, so that's Lonely League. Go check that out. Claus, what are you going to bring to Buzz Corner today?
So I'm bringing a project I've been, keeping an eye on since I heard it existed, and it is called Copper Odyssey by Cam Collins. And he's an artist that I really, really love his, just everything he draws, dude doesn't miss. I love his work so much. I found out about him through Decon Feed, who's also worked on Almari. He did I think he commissioned Decon a song for a piece he did, and I just kind of looked at his art and went, whoa, it's like Cosmic Kaneko meets other surrealist artists I kind of like not quite Dali, but it has a very sketchy 80s 90s JRPG look to it sometimes.
Right.
And I absolutely adore that. So, just seeing a whole game using that art style, and from what I understand, Cam loves RPGs like I do. So I'm really, really excited for the gameplay, because playing an RPG by someone who likes RPGs is the best feeling for me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you could tell that their heart and soul went into it, sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Even the title kind of brings up Chrono Trigger kind of vibes, I think, for me. I don't know.
I really love the MS Paint type of stuff.
Yeah, and the whole tagline, "You are the monitor," that slaps.
Yeah, absolutely. The description says, it is finals week, and 4 thieves have gone into the print studio and are taking all of the supplies. The monitor of a print studio must get their friends, find the thieves, and take back the print supplies so students can keep working. You are the monitor. Respect the craft.
This is cool. Thanks for bringing this to my attention.
Yeah, it's pretty unique concept. I love the graphics as well, colorful and trippy.
Mm-hmm. It reminds me kind of like a mid-2000s DS game, actually. I kind of know Homie Boone, who's doing the soundtrack. He worked on Shrine Spark and also did the soundtrack of that.
Hey, Homie Boone.
And he showed me a couple songs. I'm like, oh shit, this is DS era, Digimon World DS and Shin Megami Tensei a bit. And I'm like, this fucks, man. Or I don't know if I can say it on air.
Absolutely. Nah, go ahead. Yeah.
It does fuck. I agree. This rules.
It doth. Awesome. Yeah, looks great. This looks fantastic. A mishmash of tons of different influences, but just in the best way, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, go check that out. Copper Odyssey. Post Elvis, what would you like to bring to the Buzz Corner today?
I am bringing Bug Fables. I just downloaded it yesterday on Steam, and I would like to play it. It reminds me a lot of Paper Mario, which is Paper Mario is one of my favorite RPGs. So I'm really excited. I actually didn't know that this existed until recently. I had no idea that somebody was here, I'm tired of Paper Mario not being having a new installment. And so they decided to just literally make their own Paper Mario. So I'm really, really excited to try this out. I hope it goes well, because if it really does look like Paper Mario, I'm going to play the fucking shit out of it. So I love it. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I can tell you, as a huge Bug Fables fan who just bought the collector's edition, game's fucking good. It's great. It's one of my favorites ever. It rules.
Nice. Okay,
yeah, Steam reviews. Steam reviews 98% positive, overwhelmingly positive, 2,000 reviews on there, and also 86 on Metacritic. So it seems to be very well received by both audiences and critics. Which I'll be honest, it's I've never played. Okay, this is a sin, but I've never played a Paper Mario game. I've played Mario Superstar Saga, so maybe that's getting. They're getting close, but I need to play one.
It's like one of the best RPGs of all time.
I know, I need to, I know.
They never re-released it.
Yeah, I need to. The only thing I had was like a DS, but like at that time I didn't have much money, so I only got like Nintendogs and like some.
Okay,
I don't know what else I got. Yeah, but I didn't get a chance, so I just didn't have a chance. But now that I've got like a working computer, I can like, I don't know, emulate and do stuff. Or I can just play Bug Fables, the Everlasting Sapling, to get like an idea.
Baller game.
Yeah, I really want to try out Bug Fables. Like, I love the character designs; they're adorable.
Oh.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and like the style, I guess, because it's not only visually like reminiscent, but would you say there's also like gameplay stuff that's reminiscent? I don't know, maybe someone who's played the game or seen a lot about it.
It looks like there's gameplay reminiscent of it. I don't know. I haven't seen too much of gameplay, but what I have seen, it does seem like it is reminiscent of like the actual Paper Mario turn-based RPG combined with button presses for attacks. So we'll see. Like I said, I want to see how this turns out. I'm really, like I said, people seem to be loving it so far. So I definitely want to.
I'm putting it on my wish list right
play
now.
It, so.
One more thing before we move on, I want to say I'm cribbing a thing from this because in Bug Fables you can walk up to any NPC in the game and press the gossip button, and your party will talk about them, like any NPC. It's such a crazy fun addition.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I love like very story like customized stuff like that, where it's like, I mean, I've loved games like Disco Elysium and stuff where they've done like inventive stuff with story, but like to see that in a game like this is actually pretty like fun to hear about as well. Like I like those social simulation kind of vibes.
It rules. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely reminds me of like the party talk in Dragon Quest, or like even in like Persona 2 Eternal Punishment, you could go into any store and like talk to your party members, and they're gonna comment on the store you're in. Which I always loved.
But you know what? Actually, there's a lot of that stuff in Beetle Ninja too. Because Beetle Ninja, too. There's basically every day there's a new element. Well, Prosciutto Man basically was like, make the villagers pretty much have unique dialogue for every single day, and then, essentially, it's really cool. Like I said, but yeah, it is reminiscent of that as well.
Yeah, like Beetle Ninja had a lot of that kind of like social simulation and customization towards whatever you like responded and all that kind of stuff. That was like really a great part of it. I think the games could really do from like thinking about the way that they simulate like social networks and stuff, not like the digital version, but like the physical version of a social network. That's really, I like those ideas. They're really fun to think about.
I got you.
Well, now I have to give it like a new playthrough, because like the thing that turned me off from it was the combat, and then I'm like, there's a lot more to the game here. I should really check out. So that's kind of giving me like motivation to give. I mean, I already wanted to give it a second playthrough, but like I'm definitely like pushed to go try it again.
Yeah. All right. So go check out Bug Fables, the Everlasting Sapling. How about yourself, Punkitt? What are you going to bring to the Buzz Corner today?
I have been playing Chicory, A Colorful Tale. It is a game about a dog named your favorite food. You can name them whatever you want. Ideally, it'll be your favorite food. But I think their default name is Pizza. And you play as Pizza, and you're the, I think, janitor for the wielder of like the brush, which is like this thing that paints the entire world different colors. And Chicory, the character that the game is named after, is not who you play as. I kept messing that up.
So it's like a Legend of Zelda type situation.
Yeah. My friend Russ he's playing it with me, and he kept making fun of me for it. But she just stops using the brush one day, and then you pick it up, and now you're drawing over the entire world. It's super cute.
Whoa, that's actually looks really nice.
Yeah.
It's reminding me of Mustard's drawings, actually, like some of the trees and stuff.
Yeah, it totally does. You're right. It totally looks like Mustard Plus drawings.
Wow.
Oh, you're right. Holy shit.
Mustard Plus is a developer in the indie scene as well. Go check them out. But I like there's been some games about like painting and stuff, and they sometimes work, they sometimes are quite like finicky. This game has, you're a wielder of a brush, you're in a coloring book where you can draw anything and use your painting powers to explore, solve puzzles, make friends, draw on anything. From the creators, some have come together who have worked on stuff like WonderSong and Celeste.
I just saw the Celeste. Yeah, like,
it seems like one of those ones where they actually get it right. Like, they get like a good combination of constraints and freedom in the painting and in the puzzles that you get from that, because sometimes some people go all out. Like, I remember playing Crayon Physics in the early days. That was a great game. It was very open. It was almost Scribblenautsy in its conception. But this seems a lot more kind of constrained within a story-based structure. And I don't know, would you say have anything to say about that? Because I haven't actually played it, but it seems that way.
Yeah, actually. Okay, so the cool thing is that the developers seem to have known that drawing with anything that isn't a pen in your hand is really hard to do.
Yeah.
So, the way the game sets it up is Pizza, the little dog you play as, is actually a bad artist. They're not good at art.
Right.
And that's kind of evidenced by the fact that you can't really make super good art in the game. Like, the brush sizes are all like too big and the colors are kind of out of whack. You're very much positioned to be an amateur, and I mean, like, the main character's like instrument is like a recorder, like, the 4th grade instrument.
Yeah.
That sounds really like childish. So you're always set up to not be like super good at what you do, but people like it and you can have fun with it regardless. So the game kind of eases you into like, don't worry if this doesn't look good. The main thing is that you have fun with it. And I like that it's woven into the narrative of like, don't worry, the main character is not actually a great artist. So
that reminds me a lot of Drawn to Life, actually, which is kind of what I liked about that. I mean, Drawn to Life was much more like, you could only really draw like certain things, but like no matter what you drew, the reposers were like, thanks God, this looks great, and you just drew a dick butt or something.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. There was this other art-based game that was pretty similar, where you had to like it was like a 3D. It looked like what's that aesthetic? Like vaporwave-ish, and it was like an art game.
Art School.
Yeah, Art School. Yeah, that was a similar.
I was thinking Umurangi Generation, but no, it's not that one.
That one too. Like, there's some ideas. There's this idea where you create like a piece of art and then the computer judges it, and they have tried to like approach this idea in different ways. But I'm not too sure. Maybe this one is quite a little bit different. But yeah. It's funny, Umurangi Generation was created by a New Zealander, and I was surprised by that. I was like, wow, that's also nominated in the same category as this one for the Sumas McNally Award at the Independent Games Festival. So it'll be Chicory, also Spiritfarer, and I think it's Genesis Noir, and there's also a game, Umurangi Generation. And so all these innovative games coming out. I love like when they try new stuff like this. Pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, so go check that out. Chicory, A Colorful Tale. I've already put it on my playlist because apparently it's actually the highest rated game on Metacritic so far this year. So it's pretty massive. Go check that out. Yeah. Nice. I like when indie games, that aren't 3D and don't seem to be created by like massive studios, get that honor. It's like, wow, okay. Until the Divinity or the next Witcher comes to supplant it,
Chicory's the Paddington 2 of games this year.
I love that comparison. Paddington 2, what a fantastic film. Anyway, yeah. Let's transition to a film podcast. No. All right. Okay. Yeah. Fantastic. Go check that out. Chicory, A Colorful Tale. Awesome. That's our Buzz Corner. That's what's been buzzing for us right now. And we're going to move on to another section called We've Been Playing Games. Maybe? Hey, have you been playing games? If not, That's all cool, no judgment here. But if so, you can listen here. Or if not, you can also listen here. My description that I've written down isn't serving the purpose, as each of us talk about a game we've been currently playing or have played and explain what we liked and disliked about it. I'm going to bring a game that I've been playing a lot lately, and to be honest, like, there was a period of time where I just stopped playing games entirely because I didn't have, like, the equipment, like, involved, and I got out of the practice of playing games, like, for, like, hours on end. There was a sort of guilt that I had when I had, like, productivity and things to do, and I was like, if I play, like, a game, like a survival game, or a game that didn't seem to have a perceivable end, or a game that wasn't, like, a solo campaign game that I knew was, like, less than 10 hours long or something, I felt guilty, and that was, like, something that I was trying to get over. I feel like 7 Days to Die is one of those games that's helped me to get over that, like, that initial barrier of guilt. That's a unique kind of concept, but I guess it's an open world game that's a unique combination of first-person shooter, survival horror, tower defense, and role-playing games. It's like a zombie survival sandbox RPG where, and I played it with friends as well. So I played it with 3 other friends. We had like a sort of base going on, fully communist. So basically we would like,
Nice.
we were a communist, shared all our resources. Like there was no private chests. We all contributed to the main base. And I think that also helped with like the enjoyment of it. Someone would go, oh, we need this. And I'm like, okay, sweet. I'll go get this material, and the other person was like, okay, I'll go do quests kind of thing. And what I like about 7 Days to Die is it has like it's like Minecraft where you can build like a base, but with Minecraft there's no like wave of zombies that come and try and destroy your base relentlessly. With 7 Days to Die, you build your base, and when it comes nighttime, every night you have to like huddle away in your base because it's actually, especially since you can change like the individual settings, there's waves of zombies that come at you and you have to like shoot them down from your base that you've constructed. And it's one of those few games that I feel has got the balance right between base building and tower defense, defending from that base you've built, because too many games either have it too easy or too difficult. But this game, especially when you get the settings right, it has that nice thing of, okay, I built the base, and there was this really satisfying moment where one of our friends who was really keen on base building had designed something where it just felt right, and you're like, wow, you are a genius for designing this to help us survive this wave of zombies. Yeah, it's really good in that way, and it's really deep, like simulationist gameplay as well. Well, it's not super simulationist as well, to the point of like a game. There's a game called Scum, where it's like you have like vitamin B, vitamin C, B12, and all this stuff.
I've heard of that one. That sounds insane.
I haven't played that. I mean, I'd be interested in it. But the thing that 7 Days to Die, I feel, does well, doesn't dive too deep into the simulationist gameplay where there's a lot of mechanics that don't seem to directly influence the gameplay. I feel like it goes in lots of different directions. It feels almost like a MMO in that way. Like, you know, you can fight, you can do quests, or you can mine, or you can do base building or cooking. And there was enough different avenues that you could perk yourself into that it felt like you each had, at least with 4 players, and I think they max it to 8 players in a server, which is a great idea, because I think they've designed it around the idea that everyone... It
sounds like Terraria, or like... Honestly, it almost sounds like Terraria, or... Yeah, it does sound like Terraria, basically combined with DayZ, almost. It's kind of strange. That's kind of a cool concept.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it would, especially, like, not everyone would be like, have like a communist society. I think that helps because I feel like the shared, like, nature of it actually helped the gameplay that we had. I could see a game where everyone did their own thing wouldn't be as fun as the game that I personally had. And also I would say, do it multiplayer, not single player, because the single player version, in my opinion, is not very fun at all. In my opinion,
like kind of like trying to play single player Minecraft.
In
creative mode, and like, well, I made it, but who else is gonna see it?
Well, even I would say single player I would say single player Minecraft is fun too. This is even more so in that direction where it's even less fun than single player Minecraft, I think. Yeah, but I think that's part of what makes it fun for multiplayer, because it's almost like this idea of you can't survive by yourself. And that's one of the biggest sells in my opinion, where it's, well, you can't have fun surviving by yourself. You have to go, oh, can you do this? Can you do that? And rely on each other. And that way, maybe it might be like Terraria. I haven't played Terraria for more than 10 hours, which I think is like, it's funny saying that, because like for some survival games, it requires you to play like 20, 30 hours to actually like get the full experience of like the long-term gameplay. Anyway, 7 Days to Die, I highly recommend it. In my opinion, it's one of the most fun I've had in a survival game ever. I'm making these big statements, but I'm literally bringing up one of my new favorite games right now. So this really worked for me. Yeah, so go check that out, 7 Days to Die. I enjoyed this a lot. You know, I mean, mileage may vary, but try to create a communist society. It will help.
Yeah, teamwork.
Yeah. Yeah, Claus, what games have you been playing lately, maybe?
Okay, so I've been playing Yakuza Like a Dragon. I've probably been playing it for the past 6 months, kind of on and off. That's just kind of how I am with RPGs. But it's technically my second Yakuza game, because my first one I got into was Judgment, mainly because the advertisement for it was this guy like chasing a car on a skateboard, jumping off the skateboard and kicking the guy in the car like into the side of it and then skating off, and I'm like, that was fucking sick. I gotta play this.
That is sick. I didn't know about that. I gotta play Judgment.
No, dude, if you like Yakuza 7, you'll love Judgment. It goes back, like, apparently, like, the Yakuza series kind of split off in gameplay, so Judgment's keeping, like, the regular Yakuza gameplay, and Yakuza 7's going in the direction of, like, turn-based combat, so, like, that's kind of what drew me into it. But he plays Ichiban Kasuga, who, this is, like, the very first chapter, but,
Ichiban, my man!
Basically, he takes the fall for a crime he didn't commit, like, willingly, as, like, honor in the Yakuza, and he spends 18 years in prison before, like, coming out and, like, getting exiled, and he's kind of like, well, I'm homeless, I've made friends with an ex-doctor, and I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do now. But from there, you kind of just start, like... I'm gonna take out Punkitt has put it. It's a bunch of homeless people fucking shit up in the best way possible.
Yeah, seeing the trailer for this game is... I really, really enjoyed watching the trailer for this game, and I really wish... That actually got me into, like, downloading the Yakuza 0 for Steam as well. I really, really actually wanted to play Yakuza Like a Dragon because of the trailer as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, really well cut trailer. Yeah, like the comedy in this is fantastic. Like, well, I haven't played it, but like I've heard so much about it. It just seemed, because like the idea is that you play a character, you know, Ichiban Kasuga, a low-ranking Yakuza grunt left on the brink of death by the man he trusted most. Take up your legendary bat and get ready to crack some underworld skulls in dynamic RPG combat set against the backdrop of modern-day Japan. And, like, to my knowledge, like, the story is he's inspired by Dragon Quest.
Yeah, he sees the world a little bit too much like a Dragon Quest game, and he may have taken a few too knocks to the noggin in prison.
So, like, the whole thing is like a JRPG. Like,
yes,
story, like, gameplay-wise, it is fully. It doesn't look like it, but it's fully a JRPG, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's some things that kind of added to make it still feel like a mainline Yakuza, where, like, basically, like, if you choose the attack option and say there's a chair in front of your opponent, your character will pick up the chair, bash them with the chair, and then do the regular attack for extra damage. It takes, like, a very Chrono Trigger approach with, like, enemy placement. Because the only game I played that does that really, really well besides Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, it's like a placement-based RPG. Like, you can't control your own movement, but the way you're positioned in battle affects the, like, moves you can make. So the game is constantly throwing new challenges at you with, like, where you end up on, like, the field.
And it's so interesting that so late in the series, well, I think, I haven't looked at the whole thing, but, like, that people are saying like this might be the like definitive Yakuza entry, like the one that they enjoy the most. I don't know. So a lot of people are saying that, but I don't know. There might not be in like the same like agreement amongst everyone, but some people.
Yeah,
are just...
I assume some division just from the gameplay change. But it definitely like for my first mainline Yakuza, I feel like I'm definitely getting into it, and I'd probably go to 0 from here.
Yeah, 0 does seem like one that everyone loves as well, like the usual action, beat 'em up kind of style, but Like a Dragon is such a bold statement to come out with as well, like when you've been making a game a certain way, and then it's like, well, look at this, we've made this, I don't know what this is, like I don't know what it's funny, it'd be funny like pitching this game. I can just imagine pitching this game to the publisher and just them going, Dragon Quest? Like, what? Yeah. It'd be such a weird like concept.
I was just gonna say, I think they were saying like, we made 8 games like the previous one, we want to switch it up a little bit, which fair.
Absolutely.
I was actually noticing that even like down to like Ichiban's design, like his hair is like all like poofy and afro-y, but like that's kind of what Akira Toriyama's art style would look like in a realistic way.
No,
so he just has a fucking Dragon Quest protagonist hairstyle. It's so subtle, but I love it.
That's great.
Yeah, go check Yakuza Like a Dragon out. Yeah, I have this on my wish list as well, but it's such a big game. Like, it's almost like if you wanted to complete the completionist run on like the How Long to Beat website says that it could take like 99.5 hours or something like that, which is like ridiculous.
That's a crazy
That's
thing.
kind of like the average JRPG length, though. That's about what I put into like Ni no Kuni Wrath of the White Witch.
It's massive. It's just like intimidating for me sometimes, but like if I want to go into it, I'm like, I want to know that I'll be able to like go through the whole experience without giving up halfway through.
Yeah.
I know it's like I think a lot of people love long games, but I have to like ready myself.
Gotcha. Like a mindset that helps me is like I always kind of pick a long game as sort of my comfort game for a little bit. Like, I can pick it up and drop it as I go, and like when it's just a rainy day and I just need something to cheer me up a bit, like I'll just pick up my favorite RPG at the moment.
Yeah.
And that way you kind of allow it to be kind of like it's kind of like what's the word? It's like reading a long book.
Yeah.
You can just read it as you go.
Yeah.
There's no pressure to really finish it anytime soon.
Yeah, I think I just need to change my mindset really, like, to be that way, like, I've been slowly doing that and it's been working, like, a lot. It's been very good, but, like, yeah, I really need to do that. Yeah, like, go check that out. Yakuza Like a Dragon, awesome looking game. Yes. How about yourself, Post Elvis? What would you like to bring to the Buzz Corner?
So I recently moved houses, so I actually haven't had time to play a lot of things, and where I'm at, the rural internet here is really shitty. So I haven't gotten a chance to download a whole lot, so I think the last game that I've actually played is a game that I've been playing since last year, which is Carol Blaster. I can't seem to... It's one of those games where you pick up, like Claus was saying, like, yeah, you pick up a game and then you kind of drop it and then pick it up again. Carol Blaster is kind of like one of those for me. Where I've played it and it's just like I get to a certain point, you can't beat it, and then you're just like, I'll try again tomorrow, and then I never try again tomorrow, and then I end up just replaying the whole thing because it's honestly a fun game. Daisuke, I think is his name.
Yep.
I believe so. Yeah, Studio Pixel. Probably still one of my favorite like game maker studios of all time, and they actually released a new game recently. Let me see. I believe it's called Haru to Shura. I've been wanting to play that one as well. But yeah, Carol Blaster I've been playing.
I was around for that one actually because I want to play that.
Oh yeah, apparently it's supposed to be also another platformer as well. So it's like it's supposed to be fucking intense. It's supposed to be cool. So I'm excited. Either way though,
nice. That's kind of like Pixel's specialty.
Oh really? Oh shit.
I guess so. Like I figured like platforms would be a specialty just because like Cave Story and Carol Blaster kind of follow that same like gameplay loop sort of deal.
Yeah, I would assume that too. I mean, I think that like, stick with what you know. But like I said, I'm excited to play How to Shoot. But yeah, the last game that I played was Kero Blaster, so nothing too new there. One of my favorite platformers, just again, Studio Pixel Daisuke, just a masterful platformer action kind of guy. That's all I really have to say about the game.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, good to know. I'm not sure if you did mention it, but the creator of Cave Story, which is the big, it's the big thing. That was, I gotta say, Cave Story, like, I think that was my introduction to indie gaming. Which,
yeah,
like,
same.
it was the first game made by, like, I think it was made by one person, that I played and I went, holy crap, this is amazing in a way that I haven't experienced before. Like, it was like, this is so unique and a unique expression. It felt fresh. And it feels funny saying this as well. It's almost like when I first played Minecraft. It's like that kind of idea. Everyone goes, hey, it's just a big corporation thing. But when I first played Minecraft, it was in like beta. And it was really early on, and it felt so expression based, like it was someone's thought of going, like, unfinished, unpolished. You had to go to the wiki to look up recipes, but that's basically what I feel like Cave Story brought. And even Kero Blaster, like, it still has that DIY charm to it. That sort of like
scrappy, that's a good way of putting it.
The scrappy contender kind of idea going on, because it's I still need to play it though. It doesn't seem to be as like popular as like Cave Story at all, which is kind of sad to see. But yeah, I need to play this one.
I need to finish it. I got to like the final boss and got my ass kicked. Or what I thought was the final boss. It was like a monolith or something, and I just kept getting my ass beat.
Yeah, Cave Story, I still haven't beaten Cave Story either. Shit.
No, me neither.
I've beaten like all of Cave Story except the Hell level, and I'm like, man, does anyone even beat Hell?
I finished Cave Story.
I fought that boss once, and I did not want to go through Hell ever again. I was like, fuck it. I made it to the boss. I'm good.
I think this will be like my third time playing Cave Story. I swear to God.
Oh man,
just trying to beat it.
It's so good, like that it's very punishing at the same time. So it didn't really play easy. How was Kero Blaster's gameplay?
Kero Blaster's gameplay is pretty much like this. It has the same like type of platforming. I guess it feels like the same type of platforming as Cave Story, but it really kind of depends more on like it's less story heavy than Cave Story is, and that's what I like about it. It's more so like how can I put this? It's more so reliant on like, it feels more like a shmup than it does like a platformer kind of. It feels like a shmup platformer, if that makes sense. Yeah. Whereas Cave Story felt more like a platformer. This one feels more like, this is more gameplay focused than Cave Story is. So I guess that would be like the big difference. But coming from Cave Story, you definitely can see like those are, if you liked Cave Story, you'll like the gameplay in Kero Blaster. So I mean, it's a nice
I
game.
totally agree. They're also coming from Cave Story, because Cave Story is more like a platformer RPG, while Kero Blaster is more of like a platformer shmup, like kind of almost an arcade style too.
Yeah, and that's what I like about it.
Yes, that's Kero Blaster. Go check that out. Yeah, let's go on to Punkitt. Punkitt, what games have you been playing, maybe?
I have been playing the English fan patch of Mother 3, which is one of my favorite games ever. So, I will always sing the praise of this game. It only gets better with time. I went back to it for like a couple reasons. One was that I recently watched a Super Eye Patch Wolf video about it, and it reminded me of like how good it was. And two, it's just like a comfort game for me. Like the way, like the themes of the game are very comforting to me because Mother 3 is it's about a lot of things, but I think the main theme of it is appreciating what you have and learning to cope after disaster. Like that, because a lot of bad things happen in Mother 3.
Yeah.
And I was recently going through a bit of a tumultuous period, and having a game that was like, no, you know, it may suck, but you'll be okay, was like, oh, I needed that.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great game to talk about going into like talking about more about your game, because obviously, Almari and Astral Guard were both featured on the Mother Direct, which is like I'd say both games are heavily influenced by Mother, and it's great to revisit these, you know, now and again.
Yeah. It actually influenced. So this is really funny. When you had to like show off Mother Direct, you had to like write. You had to like pitch your game to the like Direct itself, the people running it. And I was like, man, is Astral Guard like outwardly mothery enough? Like it deeply influenced the way I make games, but I don't know if it looks like it. So I was like, I promise you, it's got Mother 3 influence. It may not look like it, but I promise it. And my main influence is that Mother 3 has a really cool emphasis on like the experience of something rather than the material reward of it. So there's a lot of ways the game just kind of throws a neat experience at you, and the reward is the neat experience and not anything you get out of it. There are boxes that just contain fireworks. And it's just a lovely little animation you get to watch for a couple seconds, or they'll contain like a little rhythm, or they'll have like a fart in them or something. And there's tons of unique enemies that don't have any sort of like unique drop or experience boost or anything like that. They're just weird, and you get to see them and like experience them. And with the way I've been developing Astral Guard, which is about travel and new experiences, Mother 3's emphasis on like the reward is the experience itself, and like finding new fun things was like deeply influential to how I build games. So that's been really fun to revisit.
I think I said this last recording too. With Mother 3, I think that's also like the only video game I think that it actually captures the like a novel feeling, like a feeling of reading a novel, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's why and that's what I like about it. And that's, I do agree with the just having the experiences be part of the gameplay rather than just be like, oh, here's this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely do agree. Mother 3 does stand the test of time.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, like it helps. I think like it's funny because as soon as I saw Astral Guard in there and I saw the trailer, it didn't occur to me go, wait, this isn't Mother. That didn't occur to me at all. I think specifically through the tone, the characters, the sort of off the wall nature of it, and the kind of with the experience thing, I think that's harder to convey. That it's all about the experience, but even just flavor-wise, I felt that you had a cast of like lovable characters in there romping through an open-ish looking world, and they're experiencing a lot of weird things, and it's all very it's kind of like light in tone, so it does feel. I mean, it's completely its own thing, but also it does feel like it harkens back to a game that. Without which it wouldn't be, games might not have gone in this direction, So it still feels very much inspired by that kind of stuff.
It's fun to revisit a game that had such a deep influence on me, because I watched like a full Let's Play of it when I was like 10, and man, I didn't realize until now, but the like marks it left were deep.
Yeah.
That game latches onto you, that's for sure.
So those were good games. Now we're going to go on to the topics we must discuss, because this is a podcast, and it's serious. Welcome to the topics we must discuss, because this is a podcast, and it's serious. Sorry, there's an echo in there. I forgot to fix. Here's the part of the podcast where we ask the serious questions. Yeah, our first question is for everyone, and I guess I'll direct this. Okay, I'll just ask the question. How did you come about making games? And if it's RPG Maker, how did you discover the engine? What's your story around this? Who would like to start this off?
Well, I can go first.
Go
if Claus wants to
I gotta
hold off on his.
I gotta remember
All right,
mine.
Cool. Okay, cool. So I actually have been thinking about it. I think my first time getting into game development was downloading Mario Game Maker engines, because it used to be that Game Maker had it so that previous versions of the engine were free, but not the newest version. And so I downloaded a bunch of old Game Maker projects, and there was a thing you could do called the Hello Mario engine. And nowadays it gets really bashed because it kind of sucks. But a lot of games were made, like Mushroom Kingdom Fusion was made in that engine. And I used to just make like little crappy Mario games in it. And it was a lot of fun, actually. I had a blast with it. And a lot of my early game development stuff was just like, I want to make a Mario fan game. But then I got exposed to Earthbound, and I was like, well, shoot, I want to make an RPG. So I ended up Googling around, and I found the old English patch of RPG Maker 2003. And I didn't know this at the time, but it's not exactly legal to download that. I was like 8, and I didn't know any better, so I was like, whoa, I can get this one, and it's not $60, which I definitely don't have because I'm 8, so I got it. And I used to make a zillion little like RPG Maker 2003 games. I made this Zelda game called Legend of Zelda: The Sacred Mirror that I was collabing with my friend on in like grade school. And it didn't get very far, but that was like the thing we were always talking about on the bus. That was kind of my like exposure. I was like, I wanted to make fan games because I had a bunch of really cool ideas for games as a kid, and my only options were like Game Maker or RPG Maker and stuff like that. So I was like, all right, I'll buckle up and download it and start going. And I would just kind of futz around and do stuff. And I think the thing that really pushed me into getting better at it was when Cognitive Dissonance, which is a Mother fan game that I actually ended up contributing to, the very first like version, I got a hold of it. And it was also made in the same engine, and that was really cool for me because I got to actually peek into the files and see how it was made. And having like a full, basically like Mother-style game made for the engine that I was like really fond of was kind of pretty groundbreaking for me, because that meant I could like pick apart and take a peek at everything in there and like see that it was possible to do in that engine. And that kind of kickstarted everything from there. So...
Yeah, like it's so interesting that you got involved in it at such a young age, like 8 years old. Like, you know, like in your primary school years, grade school years in the US, they probably call it. Yeah, like pretty early on, and you just start having like the dreams of the fan games and stuff. And I guess how did that like kind of just translate into what you make now?
Well, funny you mentioned that. Cognitive Dissonance is actually the reason I'm making Astral Guard. I went back and replayed that over a year ago, and I've always really liked that game because when I was in 7th grade, they had a call for like music, and I was like, well, I got this music program on my computer now, and I got nothing better to do, so I sent in some tracks and they got accepted.
Nice.
So then I was in Cognitive. Yeah, so
that was from the remake, right?
I'm in that game.
Not like the remake.
The
remaster.
The 2.0 version.
Yep.
And
so I've only played the original.
As a little 7th grader, it was very strange for me. But I was like, whoa, I'm in like a fan game I really like. And I went and played the new version when it released, and like it's a game about a bunch of aliens and they travel to different planets, and I always thought it was just really cool, and the structure of it was super fun. It ended up being kind of open world near the end of the game, where you could just travel anywhere and do like side quests, and like I just really liked it a lot. Like I super vibed with the like whole feel of the game, and I've always wanted to kind of make a tribute to that, which is kind of where that morphed into I want to make Astral Guard. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder if they even know that like a 7th grader made music for the game.
Yeah, I never told them.
Yeah, that's
like, sorry, kid, you must be at least this tall to contribute music to the game.
Yeah.
And they're like, they ask you like, okay, what's your text details and stuff. Like,
yeah.
Don't worry about that.
I have blocks. I have Lego.
It was so funny. Like it's like my weird like cred, because like, you know, I work on my own stuff now, but like I'm also in the mother community, and people will be like, oh hey, do you know about cognitive dissonance? And I was like, bro, I made music for that when I was like 13.
That's funny.
What are you gonna do
And
about
that's
it?
Great. Yeah.
So yeah. Do I know about it? Boy, I worked on it.
Yeah, that's awesome. How about Claus or post Elvis? What are your stories? Who would like to go first?
I'll let Claus go.
Okay. So my experience with like RPG Maker is actually goes back to when I was like 4, I think, because my mom used to like, or first off, like we'd play like some of the first RPG Maker games I played. My parents were kind of into it, so like I started with like Random Story.
Whoa.
Like I think that's Laxia's Power 1, which when I look back, I'm like, oh geez, this is not a game for kids. And like I think my first like favorite one was Jennifer's Quest. This was like this like memey little like just a little game that someone made because they could. And it, like, you know, uses a bunch of assets from other games, but it's just like kind of a comedy game, and I adore it. It's real short. I don't know if I could find it nowadays, but it's held a little place in my heart and probably gave me a twisted little sense of humor. But yeah, so after that, my mom started messing with RPG Maker 2003 and would make games for me to run around in, and that kind of just got me into, like, I think really, like, got me into RPG Maker as a whole.
Which I still think is pretty insane.
And later I started messing around the engine myself when I got a little older.
Coolest
probably
shit ever. I just want to interject and say that's still the coolest shit.
Oh, man, thank you.
Man, if my parents gave me, like, RPG Maker games, like, yo, that'd be fucking awesome.
Yeah, that would be sick as hell.
Anyways, continue, sorry.
No, you're good. But yeah, that kind of like jump-started my love of RPG Maker, and you know, like getting into other RPG Maker games like Yume Nikki when I was like 10, and like
Wow.
Yeah, it's like, it's not a mystery why I'm like this when they say, yeah, I played Yume Nikki when I was 10.
That'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, playing Earthbound at the same time, so like that all kind of like just kind of generated this love for RPG Maker. I actually, funnily enough, I played a bunch of Cognitive Dissonance as well. I briefly tried beta testing the new version, but I never finished it, so I doubt I'm credited for that.
Yeah. Damn.
I don't think I even finished I might have finished the original. But that kind of that was one I always tried to reference when I was working in 2003. So I'm like, oh man, Handish did it like this.
Yeah.
You know, how can I do it like that? You know. So I kind of had that same connection with Punkitt. But
yeah,
that's kind of my origin stories of RPG Maker.
Yeah. Surprisingly, Mother Cognitive Dissonance bringing us together.
Yeah.
Shout out to Handish and Clav for making that one deeply influential on me.
And both, like, it's interesting because I believe, like, you're not like super old, either of you, Claus or Punkitt, like, so you kind of both were, you like got into
20.
RPG Maker 2003 RPG Maker 2003 a little later than when it was actually released. Would that be correct?
Yeah. So I'm 24, so like I absolutely would have started with the illegal versions too.
Yeah. Yeah, because you see, that
back
like
when we thought, hey, let's just use a keygen to use RPG Maker XP. That's totally legal.
Yeah. Because Almari started.
Of course, I own all the engines legitimately now, just for the record. You know, whoever's listening.
Absolutely. Well, I've had Don Miguel on board the podcast, so it's not.
Yeah, we don't endorse piracy.
Yeah. Like, it's. I mean, come on, like, it's the RPG Maker engine. Without piracy, it wouldn't exist as it is today. So they're indebted to it. So I don't think they have like a hard lockdown policy towards it right now. I mean,
they're not happy about it, but they accept it.
They're indebted to me right now. Have you seen that tweet about like 2K3 that like blew the hell up? It's got 11k likes right now.
It's 10k likes. What the hell?
Wow. Yeah. Like, absolutely. And oh wow, Punkitt's tweet blew up. I didn't realize it blew up so much.
It's insane.
Well, last time I saw that, it was like it had like 100 likes or something. But hey,
it keeps going.
I get to now. I know the legendary tweeter Punkitt now. That video is incredible. Yes, yeah, like and then you said you came up with the idea for Almari at like in 2013 ish.
Yeah, I was 16, I think.
Yeah, and
I was still in high school.
It's still a little while. Like that's about 10 years after it was released. I think I discovered 2003 upon release, but like that's how old I've been. But like yeah, but yeah, like you've been working on Almari for like 7-8 years now, and that's where you are right now, I guess.
Actually,
right?
8, because June 13th, I think, was the anniversry.
Oh wow, yeah, it was. Holy shit!
A project long in the making.
Definitely. Hope it's good.
And also, yeah, and also I guess we'll move to post ELVIS as well. Like, worth noting that post ELVIS, you probably I'm not too sure whether what you consider yourself mainly, but it seems like music is might be your main thing at the moment. So like, both for like,
I would say music is the main thing. Especially when it comes to like RPG Maker or like any game development, really. I never really was intentionally trying to be a game developer or anything like that. I play games with my friends, and I also, grew up just as much as anybody else did with, GameCube and Nintendo 64 and things like that. So I've played a lot of games before, but mainly whenever I actually tried to make my own game, I'd always find it kind of, I guess, frustrating, or I never really had the patience for making games on any engine. And I'm trying to actually learn that now. But when it comes to music, there's sort of like an instant gratification. I'm not sure if that's like the correct word for it. And so Claus and Punkitt were talking about like, yeah, Claus and Punkitt were talking about like how they got into like RPG Maker at like a young age. I technically got into music at a young age, and so it wasn't really until like college that I started like kind of networking with other game developers and being like, hey, I know music, I know how to record music, and I know how to play it. Like, if you guys need music, let me know. I mean, even that like was one of the big catalysts. The fangamer.net forums, literally you'll find like some of the old posts where it's just like, hey, like, check it out. I can do music for you. That's actually technically how I even met, Claus back in 2016, was just like, hey, do you need some music? And then from there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think I deadass just like, I think I just messaged you like, hey, I need music for my game. You want to like come on board?
And that's and so that's what I like. And that's pretty much how I got into making games. There's no really like I said, it's more so that I know music and have been with that for so long. And I started like playing guitar when I was a young guy, and then from there pretty much just branched off into like other things, started taking like music more seriously, taking classes and things like that. And I think that goes along well. So you know what I mean? But that's mainly how I've gotten.
Yeah, like music and art and stuff. You do some art as well. You got like bunch of EPs, bunch of albums, Bandcamp, SoundCloud, Spotify. Everyone go, search for Post ELVIS to listen to these amazing works. Done a few film scores as well. Just basically
the film scores. Whoa.
That kind of but also it's like, as a person who like myself, I learned music before I could make games, because I ever since I was like 5, classical training piano up until like I was 15 or so, and doing the concerts as a little boy, they're like, whoa, hey, can you play that stuff? So like, and I still make music today, but like it's really awesome to like acknowledge the power of music in games, even like RPG Maker games as well. We have like Almari released recently. Almari would be, in my opinion, have nowhere near the impact it had without that score. Like the amazing
yeah.
score for that,
wow.
in my opinion, for that game. It drives the emotion. The visuals are often, quoted as one, but like the music that goes along with it, it was almost like a musically driven game at some points. There's montages set to music and all this kind of stuff. So music is incredibly important for, especially to invoke emotion in story games. I think it's so central to the process.
Totally.
You got like, even in Lisa games, you got that like quirky soundtracks, jazz stuff, and I know you're like also like affiliated with Lisa games as well, at least the creators and stuff as well. And I also only recently learned, post Elvis, that you were a contributor to the Silver Gunner channel as well.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Wait. Also,
Are you?
yes. Okay. So I was for the Siva Gunner channel. I was contacted by them to make. Basically, they were having a. It was called the King for Another Day tournament. They basically just wanted arrangements.
Yeah.
For a bunch of songs, and so I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. But they knew me from because I had worked on the Pizza Tower soundtrack. So I did the title track for the Pizza Tower game. As for knowing Lisa, so the only reason I know Austin Jorgensen, because I don't actually know him. I don't like I contacted him because of an album that I did that was like kind of based around the concept of the post-apocalypse. And so it was like at the time I had played Lisa the RPG, and I'd also seen like Blade Runner 2049, all this stuff that was like, and just in the general mood of like sadness and post-apocalyptic and just being an edgy like college student. And so I contacted him and being like, hey, would you like to make an like album art for me? I've played Lisa the RPG and it's fantastic. I love it. It's inspired me heavily. And he was like, yeah, sure. And through that I tried wiggling my way and being like, hey, also if you got your next project, I'll make for that as well. And then he never really responded. So I was like, all right, that's cool. Whatever, dude. But yeah, that's so I'm not really too affiliated with the Lisa guys. Apparently though, Prosciutto Man, that 16-bit king, apparently he is. I don't know. Apparently he's in with those guys. I don't know. Either way. But I just want to make that clear.
2 degrees of Lisa. Well, those are the origins. We could go for a while, but limited for time. Let's move on to our next section, the question box. Welcome to the question box. This is the segment where RPG Maker community users ask questions related to game development and design that we probably don't know the answers to, but we'll try. They've just put their little notes in the box, and we're just going to pick them out. Let me fish these out. Me Bob from Unique Indie RPGs asks, what would you say your artistic goal is? What are you trying to make the player feel? And what's your favorite? What's your favorite Pokemon?
I guess my artistic goal kind of varies from project to project. I kind of go into each thing I do with a different thesis. For Hap Up, it was like I wanted to just kind of encapsulate small joys, I suppose. Right. That's kind of what I wanted to feel. Like you're just the joy of just helping random people out or seeing a fun thing or kind of just checking out something funky. I value a lot about that, I suppose. And I guess I would say that kind of carries into Astral Guard. My artistic goal with those kind of projects, I suppose, the more narrative ones, is I want to, I suppose, I've got an idea, a concept of something in my head, and I really just wanted the people to kind of understand it through the medium of games, I suppose. I have this Astral Guard. I'm not gonna get too deep into this, but Astral Guard is kind of based deeply on the feeling of moving somewhere else and meeting new people and seeing new things and the joy and comfort that comes with being with people who you really click with. Because that's a very personal feeling to me. As somebody who's lived in a really rural logging town for 19 years until I got to college. And that kind of feeling of a road trip and going new places and things like that is something that I want to encapsulate in kind of games like that. And so I tend to not take a mechanical approach to game design where I'm trying to take an idea, like a gameplay idea, and stretch it as far as I can, like with Celeste and stuff like that. Although Celeste does narrative stuff as well, obviously. But for me, it's all about, like, I have a specific, like, I guess, thesis, and I want to see how well I can integrate that into the gameplay and, like, how it feels to do it, I suppose. Also, my favorite Pokemon is Wooper.
How about yourself, Claus or Post Elvis?
So my artistic goals and what I'm trying to make my player feel actually kind of the springboard off of Mutter Free is I feel like I've held the tagline of Mutter Free very close to my heart, which is strange, funny, and heartrending. And I've always held on to that, so I feel like that's kind of something I've always I brought with me into every little project I've made. Like, it needs to be a little bit strange, it needs to be a little bit funny. Like, I love games that can kind of bounce between being horrifying and hilarious all at once.
Got that range.
And and that's kind of what I'm always trying to bring to my projects. Like Almari, I feel like it kind of shows. I'll have screenshots of just a thought form saying something silly and then another one saying something like, it's a quote, Pokey, that'll cut you like a knife, you know? I think I've got this one line that I adored. It's like the perfect example of it is like, I made this little garden of monsters, and they're adorable, and you can donate like an insignificant amount of money to them in game to help take care of them. And if you say no, the thought form will look you dead in the eye and say, "You're the kind of person that tells children Santa Claus isn't real, aren't you?"
Santa Claus canon to Almari?
yeah.
But that's just kind of how I am with my writing. I love catching them off guard like that, and something just so stupid like that.
Very chaotic. And what's your favorite Pokemon?
Scrafty.
Oh,
it's a little delinquent, and I love it. It got fucked over by fairy types, and I'm still mad about that.
SMH.
And how about yourself, Post Elvis? What would you say your artistic goal is? And this can relate to either game development or music or any art you create.
For the artistic goal I would say for Almari is, I would say it's basically like a mix of like lo-fi, lo-finess and, gosh, what else would I say? It's definitely lo-fi as well as a mix of like surrealness. I think that's definitely the type of goal we're trying to go for. And I mean, that's the type of music that I enjoy making a lot too. Overall, Post Elvis is more like, my personal projects are more like, they're more trying to be like experimental pop stuff. They're trying to, I'm trying to like capture the essence of like, a pop song, but along with some stuff that'll make people like go, oh, that's kind of cool, that's kind of unique and things like that. And so I don't know. I think definitely with Almari, that the goal is to make like lo-fi surreal music, and I think that really, really complements the game a lot. Like, it really does. And I think that's also just because we started the project back in like 2016. And so that's a project, like, that's just literally a product of like, me being, okay at production then. And then that sort of just kind of evolved into its own identity. It's really, really cool how that kind of evolved into like its own thing too. And I think, I like I said, I think it'll make people kind of go, I think it'll make people look at this world and go like, hey, this is a very like, I guess a strange world, or like a very like unique world, I would say. And that's the goal I'm trying to get with people.
Yeah, trying to bring that across with like the textures and the sounds and like the dissonance and like the noise, I guess. And I find that interesting as a composer myself. I like trying to like back the feeling that of a game and a graphical style with the music, but then the music starts to like also help define like parts of the game, I guess. I don't know if you guys feel
like
that way as well.
I've actually taken
totally.
like I'll have an area that isn't done yet, but Thomas has made the song for it, and I'll tend to like I'll design the area like around how the song feels. If it takes longer to get into certain segments, I'll let the area kind of take its time unraveling. Even with like, because we have tons of boss themes, because I'm a boss theme nut, thanks Mother Free. I'll balance boss themes around the actual chorus of the song, and like so that the boss will die closer to the most intense point.
What? Class
and
is so
I've
cool.
gone out of
What the
my way
hell?
to do that.
I love the timed aspects of things like that as well, because like in my personal game that I'm making called Paper Thin, I like I'm making a soundtrack first, and then I kind of like I want the conversations to react to different elements in the soundtrack. So it starts with like one choral note, and then when you choose the next conversation choice, and then it brings another one in, and it brings more elements in, is like I think there was a video that went viral recently with like Pokemon that they didn't realize the latest Pokemon when you're like exploring around, it doesn't have the drums when you're standing still, and as soon as you start moving, it pulls the drums in. And I was like, whoa, that's...
I heard about that too. That was weird.
So cool.
Yeah, it was something that it's like it relatively went unnoticed, but it definitely contributes to the feel, and little touches like that with music and audio design. I stand over like
it's so cool.
They're like such, I like games where they put like a lot of thought into every single aspect like that. I love that. Awesome. Yeah. And favorite Pokemon?
Oh, I actually don't play a lot of Pokemon, so I only know Gen 1. I guess fuck it. What's the Squirtle with the fucking Kamina glasses? Whatever that Squirtle is, I like that guy.
That's base Squirtle, just wearing Kamina glasses. So
there we go. Yeah, that's my favorite
great.
Pokemon.
He's great. Good old Squirtle Squad.
Squirtle Squad.
Another question by Riggsbase or Chris from Twitter asks, and they also go by Riggy2K3. Are the inspirations assumed, that is off for visuals, FLCL for character design, Earthbound for music, intentional or just strong references?
I mean, I can kind of lead half of that, and Thomas, you can kind of touch on the music.
Yeah,
that
sure.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay. So actually, not all of these references are entirely intentional. Like the Fully Cooley one, actually, this is kind of gonna sound a little shallow, but at the time when I was making Almari in like 2013, TV heads were just kind of popular on Tumblr. Yeah. So I legitimately chose the TV head design because I thought it would be popular. And I was like, a self-conscious 16-year-old who just wanted to be popular.
Happy accident.
I mean, I liked them, of course, but that's kind of the reason that I chose it. I'd probably seen Fully Cooley around, but it probably wasn't like a huge influence until like, I think later I started basing a character off of like some of Canty's forms, like the red one. Just because I think he's cool. And like, I guess from that, and then off for visuals, I mean, this is actually something to bring up funnily after the Mortis Ghost episode, is that Mortis Ghost had the exact same approach with visuals that I did when choosing that off visual, was that it was easier to draw.
Yeah, I think I made a joke about that being like RPG Maker visual like carcinization. And that's the thing where in nature crabs tend to like things just tend to evolve into crabs just like all the time.
Yeah.
And I haven't brought up Earthbound as much for the music, but I mean that's kind of where like Thomas can kind of pick up there. I don't know how much he pulls from Earthbound in his own creations.
Yeah. I can. Yeah, I just want to say one thing about the off visuals. During the Mother Direct, everyone was fucking making some sort of like, like, hey, this is just off. And it was just like, oh. And actually Claus had been like, yeah, dude, they're just going to say it's just off. And I can't believe he was right about that. But yeah. Not everything is influenced by off.
Yeah. I guess it doesn't help that off is an influence to a lot of games.
Yeah.
I guess so. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. As for like music and Earthbound and things like that, Earthbound does heavily inspire my soundtrack, but it only inspires my soundtrack in terms that, like, how can I say this? Earthbound has a lot of eclectic music. Like, they'll have like a bossa nova in one section for like the shop, and then they'll have a country music section for another moment in the shop, and then they'll have like this weird atonal piece for the battle theme, and then they'll have this another jazz piece for this other boss theme. And I think that's really what I take away from Earthbound being an inspiration for music, is that there's just a lot of eclectic themes. You think of something like Dragon Quest, or you think of like Final Fantasy, and it's all just one genre score where it's just orchestra, or it's all just I guess inspired by like a lot of romantic pieces, a lot of in that era of like music and orchestra pieces. And what I liked about Earthbound is that they didn't really stick to one like genre or anything like that, and it complements each play, like it complements each boss, or it complements each gameplay that it accompanies. You kind of get a sense of like, you kind of also like remember who these like characters are, or who like what am I trying to say? Like, you remember like each section of the game because of just how like unique it is to that certain section. I don't know. But when it comes to that, that's mainly what I am. In terms of like actual like musically inspired by, gosh, I would have to say I'm more inspired by like Ween. The band Ween is a big influence on me, as well as like MF Doom and and like Tyler the Creator. And also just a bunch of like other weird like free jazz stuff by like John Coltrane, stuff like that. A lot of different influences. Oh, another big huge influence would be and this was in what the fuck is the game I'm thinking about? It's the one with a bunch of blood. I said this last
Space
time
Funeral?
too. Yes, Space Funeral. So it would be Les Rallies de Nuez. That would be the band that I'm also really heavily inspired by. That entire like Les Rallies is just fucking great. They're also heavily influential. But yeah, as for Earthbound, it's just pretty much it's pretty much that.
Yeah. And there are some questions by like SJTR909 and Antler Voices, which kind of ask the same thing, and we don't have all the time in the world for, unfortunately, but we might go back to those. But they have also asked other questions elsewhere, so actually, I'll ask Antler Voices one just real quick, just a quick answer for this one, or maybe not quick, depending on how long you want to. Antler Voices or Antler Bean from Twitter asks, "What inspired Almari to be a walking TV head?" I think we've done that one.
Covered
what were some of their musical influences that impacted the game's music score? We've done that one. Is there any message you are trying to get across with the concept of the game? That might be a good question. Is there? That might not be.
God, I don't know. There was one, but like it's gone through so many drafts.
I'm also very aware that like it's a work in progress. So the things that I said like in the intro of this podcast, they might not all still apply. You know how Almari's like, it's a rapidly changing game. So what it might have started off as when you were in 2013, I reckon you've grown up since then. So you have different ideas, different story things that you're bringing to the table. Would that be correct?
Yeah, that's definitely correct. Because I mean, I'm gonna add things as I'm playing different games and see like, okay, how does this fit into the whole overall narrative? But I do think that Almari has become a very almost personal reflection. The whole gathering emotions, even because I grew up a little bit through sections of a little bit of isolation. So kind of coming from a bit of a homeschooling background, so learning to interact with other kids and show, I guess, emotions like as normal as I could, master, just kind of mimicking everyone else. It's kind of a journey of personally collecting those myself, through my teens and whatnot. Now I'm fine. But it's a little bit, it is a very personal game. I guess I'll just throw out there.
I do want to add that I think that I also kind of like put that out into the soundtrack as well. That feeling of like isolation and that feeling, because I understand that feeling a lot. And so, yeah, I think that like, I would say that that's actually a pretty good like message, right? If you know what I mean, that's a pretty good concept that kind of does describe Almari. The feeling of like isolation, or the feeling of like trying to get out of isolation. I suppose that would also be a very good.
Like I remember when you were like talking to me about that stuff, and like when you like talked about that kind of aspect of it, I was like, wow, I like Almari even more. Like when I find out that like art has like a more like deeply personal, like reflective aspect to like the person who made it, that always makes me appreciate it more, because it's like, oh, there's like a piece of this person they're like putting out for me to like view, and that's very bold, and that makes me enjoy the experience that much more, like as a way of kind of putting that out there. Like I try to do the same thing with my stuff. So
Rasmodius Jones, nice name, from Twitter asks, what's been your biggest struggle up until this point?
Hey, it's my bud Russ. Good to see you, bud. So do you guys mind if I go first?
No, go for it.
Go.
Yeah,
all right, cool. So for me, I know my biggest struggle right now is for a really long time, my biggest struggle was like moving forward on things. I think like when you're making an RPG like of any size, it is kind of definitely daunting about how much like content you're supposed to produce, especially with like a small team. And with Astral Guard, especially so, I suppose. And my biggest struggle up until recently was like, I need to find a way to like move forward on something that I know is going to be hard and will be worth it to do eventually, but also hard. The recent ADHD diagnosis helps explain a lot of this, but that was the thing that I had a lot of trouble with, because I would do like minor things or find something else to do that wasn't like a part of the game I needed to get done, and that's kind of why I liked doing the Mother Direct, because I had to make a very large amount of a large like variety amount of footage in a very like short period of time that I all would have had to do anyway. So it really like kicked my ass into gear of like, get this done because it's worth it. You need to do it. And also like the deadline is in like 3 weeks. Go, 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 go. So that was the thing that kind of like got me out of that. So now I don't struggle as much, and I've got much more of a plan. And I also ended up bringing, well, Russ actually, this is the old question. I brought him on to go help me manage my time for this more, and it's been working really well. So
yeah, like I recently was diagnosed with ADHD late in my life. Like I'm 29 now. I got diagnosed at 29. It explains a lot. Like this might not be the same, but this might not be the same for every single person. But for me, it's been quite liberating. Well, liberating in the sense that I know now, like it's like this thing that you've had all your life, and you're like, I wondered why I had trouble concentrating on conversations. I had trouble keeping deadlines unless I had like a meticulous calendar system, which I do. And everyone's like, you've got a like amazing calendar system. I'm like, yeah, I need it to function and survive and remember people's birthdays and everything like that.
Yeah.
So I was like, again, having like coping mechanisms for this like early on, and then only later realizing, oh, this is what you have. And with the medication, it's like helped me a lot. Anyway, I'm not going to like, this is not like testimonial for like Ritalin, basically it's like in life and in game development as well, when you have these stretch goals, and I know actually a lot of developers have ADHD as well, and creators, because they get into this like focus. Sometimes you can get into like focus state if you really enjoy what you're doing and just like go for like hours and hours on the one thing. And I've noticed that's quite useful with developers, but it's only if you're like motivated. I'm generalizing, but like I've seen this with developers that this can be a thing.
I can attest that's true.
Yeah. So it also has been my biggest struggle at this point, because I had like maybe about, I don't know, 100 different projects that I couldn't finish because I just kept going new one, just following my passion.
Yeah.
And once I realized this was a pattern, like I was like, I've been told like by ZDS, a developer for ages, just do your main project, don't join every single game jam there is out there. And I was like, okay, fine. I have to just stick. It was at some point, maybe it was medication. Like at some point I was like, I actually can stick my focus on one project now and not deviate from that. And it's been like really good. I'll actually finally release the game now that's got a lot of work put into it.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Actually, I could pick up, because I'm kind of in the same boat for like the Mutter Direct that kind of like kicked me into gear. So actually, I don't have as many things I feel like I'm struggling with, because I had to make a bunch of shit really fast, and then I was like, oh shit, okay, I can get things done. So that was sort of a turning point for me, where I was like, I went from, the mindset of I'll get this done someday to, oh, I can get this done. This is a game I can finish,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could see, like, you could visualize. I think that's one of the things is, like, one of those things, like, even as myself, like, if I couldn't visualize the goal, then I couldn't, like, make steps to get towards there. And I sometimes find it hard, like, visualizing the feeling of having a completed project, and seeing that in my mind's eye and going, okay, that will motivate me to get there. If you can get that in your mind, in my opinion, then it will motivate you. Like if you can be like, okay, when this is finished, it will look like this and I will feel good about it. Let's go, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, honestly, because the only thing I would say for the biggest struggle is honestly, creativity. It's very... Music is... It's not as... At a certain point, it all kind of comes together and it collides to where the point where it's just like, oh, wait, I feel like I honestly get the fear that I always get, the fear of like, oh, am I making this like too similar to something else, or am I making this too similar, or am I, being a one note kind of person with this sort of soundtrack or any project. And I think that's probably the biggest struggle for me. Because it's just like, oh man, you're asking me to create something almost daily, and it's just like, it's one of those things where it's just like, oh shit, I gotta come up with something new, and I would say that's probably the biggest struggle.
True.
Sorry about that. I had too many scene ideas.
No, it ain't.
Yeah. How about this one by ItMeBean from Twitter? Of all your projects so far, which moments did each of them transcend from a "that would be neat" concept to something you knew you had to create?
I mean, I feel like I kind of answered mine a
we
little bit.
If it's fine, we don't have to
indirectly,
answer.
I feel like I kind of did.
I got something to say about it, if that's cool.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I do... I know I've talked about this before, but I only made Astral Guard because, like, I saw the Starlight Brigade music video by TWRP, and I was like, I want that. So I was at a really boring D&D game where the DM was just, like, managing it really poorly. And I, like, doodled, like, all the characters, like, really, really weird beta versions of them. And I ended up showing it to my friends, and I was like, oh, it's a project I'll make when I like get better at game development. And I was just like, whatever, I'll just start making it now. And so I like made the sprite for Axis and all that. And I'm glad I did. Like I finally like stepped up and did something. But the moment it kind of transcended from like that would be neat to something I knew I had to create was like when I was doing the writing for it, and I kind of realized like that I had those themes of like like finding people that you can be comfortable around, and like the joy of going other places. Like when I realized that that's kind of like what I'd been unconsciously like writing in, and how like personal that was to me. I was like, oh shit, well I gotta make it.
Yeah.
Like it's not just this like funny little like OC game that I'm working on. It's like I have a thing that I want to like talk about and like work through my own work and kind of like express it. And I really enjoyed as like that kind of outlet for it. And I remember I wrote a specific scene with the help of my friend John, and it was between like Axis, the main character, and his mom, like the opening cutscene of the game, which has changed since then. But when we were writing it, and I put it into the game, and I like watched over the video, like me and him, we were like, oh shit, we're like making a game. Like this is real. Like there it is. You can watch it. So
that realization, yeah.
Yeah, it's not just walking around in like maps. It's like there's a thing here. There's a story happening, and I wanted to do more of it. So
right.
You know what? Actually, there are a couple of moments like that from both in Almari and Beetle Ninja too,
Really?
where because Claus was like, "Hey, I need something here." And I've some stuff that I've been requested, I've never actually like worked on before, or like if that makes sense. Where like I can give like a specific instance with like Claus had asked for like a boss battle theme that was pretty much like all of this. I don't want to spoil anything, but it was this certain style of genre, and I was just like, oh, I'd never really made anything like that. And I this is a good time to actually test that out. And there's a lot of instances on that on Beetle Ninja 2 where it was like Prosciutto Man would ask like, hey, can you make this? And like one of the instances was like, hey, can you make like this bossa nova inspired stuff? And I really never made any bossa nova music. So it's like, well, you know what? I like listening to bossa nova.
Yeah,
let's try it out. I'll try to make a bossa nova song. Like, fuck it. And I would say that those are some moments that I would consider like, hey, that would be neat, and then transcending to like actually doing it. And it's actually, I recommend doing that to anybody that's in music, where it's just like, hey, if you're struggling with like a certain genre, or you're struggling with like, oh man, I can't make that, or because that's I don't know anything about it, just try and actually like make it with the knowledge that you have and see how it goes. And it's a really good like learning moment.
Yeah, awesome.
That's kind of what I've been trying out, just trying to branch out a little bit in art styles too.
Yeah.
Let's move on to there's like a bunch of questions for Post Elvis. We'll just put them all in one, and then Post Elvis can answer however they wish. So it's Rachel the Seeker who says, oh, the music person for Beetle Ninja. Post Elvis, what music writing software would you recommend for a total newbie? How do you pull inspiration from a beloved game without copying it wholesale? That might be for everyone.
Oh.
And then Lord Blue Rouge asks Post Elvis, the intro track to Beetle Ninja, Nerves of Steel, is hot. In a game that revolves around the impending doom of Judgment Day, it infuses the sound of tolling bells with a lot of funk. What was your source of inspiration while creating this significant track? And why isn't it used more throughout the game?
Oh gosh, there's a lot to unpack. Okay. So thank you, Rachel the Seeker. Thank you, Lord Blue Rouge. I think these guys were also like really into Beetle Ninja. They wanted me to win one of the RPGmaker.net.
Yeah.
games. Anyways, point is, okay. So first things, what music software would you recommend for a total newbie? I believe, I would start with actually just learning to play an instrument first, and then just recording it. Just because that's what I did, is just literally learn to play an instrument or learn to do anything really music really related, and then record it just offhand. Just it doesn't matter how. And then from there, I would probably branch out into whatever you're comfortable with. So if you're comfortable with like writing down notation, get some notation software. Or if you're comfortable with making beats, or you're comfortable with doing that, I would start with like Logic for Mac, or Fruity Loops, or like Ableton is also I use Ableton. I love Ableton as a software.
Yeah.
But the thing is that it's a very deep learning curve. It's a very steep learning curve. So I wouldn't recommend just like jumping directly into DAW or what are called digital audio workstations, or just the software itself, I would recommend just doing what you can first, and then seeing where it goes from there, and then sort of experimenting with like software, experimenting with like, oh, how can I make this, or how can I make that? Don't go on it all at once, because that's going to be a really big daunting task, and it's going to be like I said, it's almost like trying to learn RPG Maker all at once, or trying to learn Godot all at once. it's not
code your own engine.
It's not the best.
Oh god.
Yeah. All right. So the second question: how do you pull inspiration from a beloved game without copying it wholesale? That one, honestly, that depends. That's up to you, because that's like, gosh, that's like. Because you can't really like I said, I have this problem. Like I said, I have this problem where it's just like, I don't want to copy it outright, but at the same time, if you can't copy it, you're not getting the same vibe as it. You know what I mean? Like, if you're given a track that's like, all right, this is the track that you got to create, or this is the type of like energy or the type of feeling that you want to create, at some level, you're going to copy it. I don't know. I would say just don't worry about it too much. Just try to create something without it having it, you know what I mean? Try to make something, and then if you feel like it's too much, just start over. Start over again and try to see if you can, try to make something else. You already know. Just try to like keep it consciously in your mind that you're copying it. You know what I mean? And then if you keep it consciously, you can then avoid it. You know what I mean? I think that's probably the best thing you can probably do.
Okay, I just had something to add. Like, coming from, starting off with very off-inspired visuals, sometimes you do just kind of start off copying something, and you kind of gradually like begin to find your own footing with the similar base idea. I don't think it's a bad thing to copy something. Like, say there's a character you really like, and you make an OC based on them. That OC is not going to be that one for one with that character that inspired it forever. They're gonna, as you write them and as you figure them out, and as you figure out your own writing style, you're gonna end up with a completely different character eventually. So I think if you have the skill and understanding of the work to copy it, definitely use that to learn.
As somebody who was in like the Earthbound fan game scene and then watched a bunch of people like pull out from it to make their own thing, the biggest advice that I've kind of had swapped around is, for me, as somebody who was making an Earthbound type game, my thing has always been like, if I want to pull inspiration from something, I try to figure out how it makes me feel, and then recreate that in my own means, I suppose. Like, I feel
that's good.
a lot of different ways about like Kingdom Hearts and like Mother and stuff like that, but I can't copy it wholesale, even as much as I want to. So I take the feeling that I get from it and see if I can recreate that elsewhere with my own means. So, because then you get something wholesale, but then it's still inspired by it, I suppose.
As for the third question, the intro track to Beetle Ninja. Oh gosh, thank you for your kind comments on that. Basically, the source of inspiration was Elisa the RPG track. I'm trying to remember it. It's specifically, I think, the one Die Die Die. That is, but that was also a request by Prosciutto Man, who is the creator of Beetle Ninja, and so he just wanted that as the intro track. So, why isn't it used more throughout the game? I'm pretty sure you have to ask him that. I think he just wanted an intro track to be like a kind of, I guess, Lisa inspired. I would say so. At least that's what it feels like to me. But yeah, I mean, but I can't really say that much.
Cinematic opening feel.
Yeah, it definitely is cinematic. I would say that.
So thank you to this question box. There's been so many questions and we can't go through them all, so I'd just like to say thank you to Dungeon Dev Dude, just these people who asked questions that we didn't get round to. We might do a write-up later, maybe not, no promises, but Dungeon Dev Dude from the RPG Maker Cola Discord, also Antler Voices from Twitter, who else? And Overnight from Unique and D RPGs for asking questions that we didn't get around to. Thank you for asking, and hopefully they were like cross-answered by other things as well. So that's been the question box. Awesome. So that's everyone's questions from the question box. Now we usually go into the deep dive, but unfortunately in our recording we didn't have enough time to do that. So maybe another time, but definitely we're going to be playing each of these games this Friday. I think it'll be like around 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. or midnight Eastern time. I'm just going to be playing games like Almari, definitely. I think I'll be playing Beetle Ninja and maybe something else. We haven't decided fully yet at the time of this recording. But yeah, definitely we'll be playing those. But I just wanted to do some quick, plugging of each of these games. Almari, go ahead and download that. This is a black comedy surreal horror JRPG. Over 100 unique enemies. There's boss battles. Just plenty of places to explore. Amazing soundtrack by Post Elvis with guest tracks by Deacon Theed, and just an experience that you just one of a kind. And I'll be playing it this Friday. But yeah, and also Astral Guard. Both of these were on Mother Direct, which is amazing. Go check out the Mother Direct. That's a great project. And yeah, just Astral Guard.
Yeah.
Astral Guard being this quirky game created by Punkitt that just looks amazing, lovely, colorful characters. Just keep your eyes on these projects. I am hyped. I'm on the fan boat right now. But yeah, just go ahead and go follow those. But as to finish off, we'll just likely ask them themselves to plug anything, other projects that the same projects that they'd like. Where can we follow you? How can we support you? We'll start with Claus. How can we support and follow you on your various networks?
Oh, well, all I really have is social media. So, you can follow me on Twitter at DemonClaus. Spelled Claus like Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And you can follow the game on itch. We also recently put up a Game Jolt page, which I probably need to post on the other social medias.
Yeah.
I make a new game page every demo, so you know how it be.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
And yourself, Post Elvis?
Yes. You can follow me at Post Elvis on Twitter. You can follow the Almari game at Almari RPG. And then you can also check out my website, I guess, postelvis.net. Just type that in. It should take you to that, and that should have a lot of links.
They'll automatically put the HTTP in there. That's something that they do now.
HTTP, yeah.
I miss the good old days.
Go check it out, postelvis.net. That'll have the every music and links to social media and things like that.
And go check out Post Elvis's Flowers EP, now streaming on Spotify, Apple Music, Bandcamp, and also their official video for Max Pills off their Apocalypse Kid album. Go check those out as well.
Yeah, that's on my YouTube.
Yeah, that video fucks, man.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Well,
I haven't seen it. I gotta catch up on that.
Yeah, I gotta actually talk about that once we end, because I'm really proud of that.
And Punkitt, how can we follow you?
I have a Twitter at PunkittBoy, all one word, and I have a YouTube channel that's just also Punkitt. I post the trailers for my game there. I post gameplay update footage of Astral Guard or whatever dumb project I'm working on, like Peggle VTuber joke shit. I also what else? I have a Ko-fi or Ko-fi.
Oh.
I don't know how to pronounce it. You know the site though. I'm on Ko-fi. I've got a Ko-fi, just Punkitt there too. I'll be updating all my projects there. I post high quality art there. I'm going to be putting up RPG Maker 2003 tutorials since people want those.
Oh,
nice.
In addition to like other project updates and stuff like that.
Peggle tutorials.
And also, if you want to Peggle tutorials. If you want to throw $3 my way, I would greatly appreciate it. And I'm sure I've got other things. Oh, Astral Guard. The Twitter for it is Astral Guard Game, all one word. Follow that if you're interested in that project. It's also got an itch page that I'm working on updating, but that's in the description for that. So I think other than that should be everything. So
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for all three of you for being on board. It's been like really, really cool. I loved this recording. It's really good. And thanks for donating your time and your efforts to be on board.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. Definitely.
And to the listener as well, I would like to plug RPG Maker Cola podcast and Discord and everything like that. Go join the RPG Maker Cola universe. We have streams every Friday, a game stream. We have a Discord. Go join that, our community where you can just post your games and stuff. And also Twitter. Follow the Twitter. Yeah, we got a bunch of stuff. Well, we love you. And now you can probably hear that the music is rising because I'm editing it post haste, editing it in. It's rising. It's providing emotional backing for my voice. And I'm just saying goodbye. That's all I'm saying. Goodbye. Thank you so much. We love you. We all love you deep down in our hearts.
Bye.
You're awesome. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Farewell.
Get the fuck out!
You can't stay here, but you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Podcast is over.
Yeah,
Leave.
you can't. Just get out of here. Get out of here, everybody.